All right, our next example says, consider this statement. The number of 1-foot square tiles in the border of the square pool depends on, or think of it as, is a function of, the length of a side of the pool. So can you complete this puzzle to show that you understand how the words you learned in the overview relate to this statement or this real life situation? So what I've done is I've gone through beforehand and I've highlighted some of the keywords that really help us to understand this problem. So for number 2, it says the number of 1-foot square tiles is a blank because it can change. So now that I've highlighted that it is something that can change, when we look at our terms, which one of these terms means that it can change? And they've got quite a few different types of variables along with just the general term variable. And remember that a variable is going to be a letter that we put in place of a number in any mathematical situation to represent, the fact that it could be any number. And we just don't know exactly what number it is at the time. First variable is not a term that we've used yet, and I think this is just thrown in there to kind of trick you. Same with second variable. We do not use this term. It's just something that's thrown in there to trick you to see if you fall for it. Independent variable, we've definitely talked about. We've talked about how independent variable is the variable that the scientist can change, or that the person, builder, whatever, can change. And then we've talked about the dependent variable also being the number that's dependent on whatever we're changing, and it kind of is the result. So based off of those definitions, because it can change and there's no specific details, the number of 1-foot square tiles would be a variable. So number 3 says the length of a side of the pool is a blank because it also can change. So no more information other than it can change, which means that this is also a variable. We don't have enough details yet to determine if they're an independent or dependent. It's just describing the fact that it can change. Now looking at number 4, the length of a side of the pool is the blank because it determines the number of 1-foot square tiles needed. So this is the one that, depending on what the builder decides on, whatever we come up with as our side length, it's going to determine the outcome for the other variable. So this one is the one that is the independent. Again, because it determines. And then the last one, number 5, the number of 1-foot square tiles then is going to be the blank because it is calculated based on the length of the side. It's based on the independent variable. So this is going to be our dependent variable because it is based on. It is based on. And I'm about to spell that wrong. D-E-N-T. So all types of variables. In 2 of them, we just didn't have enough information to determine if it was independent or dependent. And also notice, and don't forget, the Agile Mind and a lot of other tests that you take throughout your life are going to try and trick you by just throwing in these other terms that aren't even really something you've used yet or will use. It's just to see if they can trick you, because the mind will often fall for it.